Nickelodeon would air preschool shows from its launch on April 1st, 1979, but it wasn't until January 4th, 1988 that they would make a clear distinction between their shows for little kids and their shows for big kids, when they introduced Nick Jr. The block would gain momentum before premiering its first breakout hit, Blue's Clues, on September 8th, 1996, leading to the creation of other popular shows, like Dora the Explorer in 2000, The Backyardigans in 2004, Wonder Pets in 2006, Yo Gabba Gabba in 2007, Ni Hao Kai-Lan in 2008, The Fresh Beat Band in 2009, and Team Umizoomi in 2010. Many of these shows followed the Blue's Clues model, while others like Gabba instead took inspiration from an older model of children's television. For the most part, these shows would stay completely self-contained. Aside from Yo Gabba Gabba and The Fresh Beat Band, Nick Jr. crossovers would be limited to video games and bumpers between commercials, except for one fateful night, the night of September 6, 2010, when all 8 of these shows would cross over for the first and only time. It was called the Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest. I have no memory of it, but was aware of it when I made my Yo Gabba Gabba review, and so in my Fresh Beat Band review, promised I'd review it along with the other 6 shows involved if my Discord got to 40 members. The rest is history. So, how did they handle a crossover of such magnitude? Let's find out. The special starts with I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas, performed here by most of the animated characters: Dora, Diego, and Boots from Dora the Explorer, Kai-Lan, Toli, Ho-Ho, and Rintu from Ni Hao Kai-Lan, Blue from Blue's Clues, the Wonder Pets, Team Umizoomi, and the Backyardigans. In the latter's case, this is the only time they appear in the special. Some of the lyrics are comically altered. During this number, we're introduced to our host John Leguizamo, who previously had several guest spots in Dora the Explorer.
I've got a special invitation for you in here somewhere.
I'm the captain of the pirate pigs. We're looking for jewels and gold.
But boss, I thought you hated wishes.
You hate wishes, boss.
Our announcer, Chris Phillips, of course.
DJ Lance Rock and Yo Gabba Gabba.
What did they do in Muno?
I'm so excited to be hosting the first Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest.
Technically, he's not wrong. There was a second Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest in 2021, but it simply consisted of marathons of music-themed episodes of shows from Nick Jr. and Nickelodeon. Is that Rainy and Rico? DJ Lance walks on stage and introduces the Gabba Gang in a similar way to how he would at their live shows, and you can tell they're the live show costumes because Broby isn't looking too good. He introduces the Roots, who perform Lovely Love My Family, which I can probably actually get away with playing this time. Backstage, John is already losing his sanity talking to Chef Pee-Pee's dad. We find out he wore out his shoes doing the opening number and so needs his other pair. He's visited by Dora and Boots, who suggest he wear a pair of duck feet that quack when you walk in them. Kind of reminds me of a different Nick Jr. show, though these shoes also make you cough up feathers. The stage manager, played by Sherry Shepard, tells him there's no time, so he reluctantly goes back on stage in the quack shoes. Dora and Boots ask for help finding his special dancing shoes. This is the first major plot thread in this special. Next is Wyclef Jean with Carnival. I didn't think Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Don would be a part of this. John walks among the audience where he runs into Wendy Williams and is given rain boots and an umbrella, but it only rains confetti. Followed by an obligatory appearance from the Lori Berkner Band with their song Family, which brings us one step away from having a Jack's Big Music Show crossover. And boy, does her music not hit the same as an adult. John gets a video call from the Fresh Beat Band, who are running late. This is the second major plot thread in this special. They're stopped by a crossing guard while Dr. Phil helps a chicken cross the road. I guess to appeal to the moms in the audience, Colby Calais sings Walking on Sunshine with the cast of Ni Hao Kai-Lan. Why are they twerking? John now has bunny slippers on, and Sherry's bad joke inspires him to check the Room of Wonder, where the Wonder Pets are. They perform a rendition of Joy to the World by Free Dog Night before he rudely cuts them off. he walks on stage in scuba gear.
Maybe if I was at Bikini Bottom, they might work.
Wyclef Jean returns to perform La Bamba with Dora and her friends. John walks on stage with clown shoes and sprays a seltzer bottle into the audience. The Fresh Beat Band has stopped for a snack at what I'm pretty sure is the same park from the show, meaning they haven't made it far. They run into Justin Bieber singing Baby and pretend like it's not the worst thing they've ever heard.
You should keep this up. Maybe someday you'll play the Mega Music Fest.
I love the implication that in this universe, the Fresh Beats are the famous ones while Justin Bieber is an unknown. John's eyebrows do the mambo when Joe from Blue's Clues walks up behind him with a cream pie, but doesn't pie him, which is a total cop-out. The audience helps him find Blue before he introduces Team Umizoomi with their song Snack Patterns, and blows the mind of half the kids in the audience while destroying the innocence of the other half by singing along to Bot's parts. They definitely only got him here because he was still working at Nickelodeon. They follow that with another food-themed number, Yo Gabba Gabba with Party in My Tummy. Watch this kid get run over by cheese. At this point, John is getting a little frustrated, so Kai-Lan does her whole breathe in, breathe out routine with him. And conveniently right after that, the Fresh Beat Band arrives.
I'm gonna have to dance in these, and it's not,
That will be quite a feat.
Oh, no, she didn't.
It turns out John's dancing shoes are hanging out of Twist's backpack, allowing them to combine the whole Twist can't find something on his back routine with Dora's do you see where this is routine. Apparently John left the shoes in their car after dance rehearsal. I feel the need to point out that Twist did not have his backpack in any scene prior to this. They perform Great Day, weird they didn't save it for the very end, followed by Stomp the House, which is one of their better songs, especially from the first two seasons. And for the grand finale, Let's Get Loud by Jennifer Lopez, performed by the Fresh Beat Band with backup from the rest of the live cast. Okay. So that was the Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest. How was it? It was okay. The performances were kind of a mixed bag, and the actual crossover element was limited. The only big interaction between two different shows was when John's shoes were hanging out of Twist's backpack. I mean, come on. Dora and Kai-Lan would have been a no-brainer. Still, to a kid, I imagine there was a novelty just to seeing all these characters in the same production. I'm still surprised they never really did any crossover episodes outside of Yo Fresh Beats. There were video games, and it almost seems like this special was the precursor to Nick Jr.'s branding throughout the 2010s, which presented all its characters as if they were in the same world. But again, the actual character interaction was limited to them singing together. It wasn't on the level of CN City or even Nickelodeon's Nickmas bumpers. Imagine Team Umizoomi helping the Wonder Pets save an animal with their mighty math powers, or Dora helping Joe look for clues.
I don't even know.
This does bring up the question of how canon this special is to the shows involved. The Fresh Beat Band I have no doubts about. The Fresh Beat Band are a famous band in universe, so it doesn't seem improbable that they would be invited to perform at the Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest. Maybe in canon it's actually a reality show documenting their exploits, which would explain the fourth wall breaks. The others are a lot more debatable. If it's non-canon to Yo Gabba Gabba, then I feel like Yo Fresh Beats also has to be. In that episode, the Fresh Beat Band and Harper recognize Yo Gabba Gabba and refer to them as Yo Gabba Gabba, implying they're simultaneously real people and TV characters in the Fresh Beat Band universe, which is also true when they appeared on Big Time Rush, a show which also once guest starred Patchy the Pirate from SpongeBob, which demonstrates a similar logic by having SpongeBob be a show that Patchy watches, but SpongeBob also be a character who really exists in Patchy's universe. So I think it's fair to say that the Nickelodeon Mega Music Fest is canon to Yo Gabba Gabba in some way. Blue's Clues is also confirmed to be a show within a show, so it's also canon. Dora the Explorer, Backyardigans, Wonder Pets, and Nihao Kai-Lan also acknowledged in their audience, so who's to say they're not also shows within shows? Dora takes place inside a computer game, but Blue's Clues takes place inside a book, so yeah. The implication of Joe singing along to Bot's parts during the Snack Pattern song seems to be that in this Nick Jr. metaverse, Joe is literally the voice of Bot, which would make it seem like that show is distinctly non-canon, but in Nick Jr. music videos, the Umizoomis sing alongside Dora and friends. Another plot hole solved by SpongeBob's involvement in this universe. In Truth or Square, Tina Fey name drops Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, to which Patchy, also played by Tom Kenny, is clueless. So in the same way Tom Kenny can exist alongside SpongeBob, who's to say Joe show can't exist alongside Bot or John Leguizamo alongside his Dora characters. If we include the aforementioned music videos, then we can triple our list of shows in the Nick Jr. universe from 8 to 24. The shows included would be Dora the Explorer, Go Diego Go, Dora and Friends, Backyardigans, Olivia, Bubble Guppies, Wonder Pets, The Fresh Beat Band, Peter Rabbit, Max and Ruby, Ni Hao Kai-Lan, Teamy Mizumi, Yo Gabba Gabba, Mike the Knight, Wow Wow Wubsy, Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig, Blue's Clues and by extension Blue's Room, Little Bill, Tickety Talk, Wally Kazam, and Zack and Quack. Of course, the only logical next step is to put all these shows in a timeline and call it the Nick Jr. theory. So let's do it. In the beginning, there was nothing, and then
Wally found a stick, waved it in the air. All these magic words went flying everywhere.
Yes, Wally Trollman is the god of the Nick Jr. universe. It's established in the show's intro that he created the world he lives in. Before that, it was just him in Norville. The show seems to take place in some sort of medieval fantasy world, so it being first in the timeline makes sense, though that puts the age of the Nick Jr. universe at only 1,526 years. The idea that the Nick Jr. universe began in medieval times is seemingly contradictory by other shows referencing stuff from before the Middle Ages, but such contradictions are usually ignored in theories like this, so I'll move on. You know what show also takes place in the medieval period? Mike the Knight, with dragons and magic and such. Flash forward to the early 20th century and we've got Peter Rabbit, where woodland creatures have formed their own human-like society. They all speak the same language and wear people clothes and such, but are still seen as inferior by humans, as evidenced by Peter's father being murdered by Mr. McGregor. And even among the animals, there's still a food chain, with Peter and friends frequently having to avoid getting eaten by the fox, Mr. Todd. By the mid-20th century, rabbits had evolved to be human-sized and live exactly like humans, as seen in Max and Ruby, where the characters live in a town called East Bunny Hop. And eventually, so did pigs, as seen in Olivia, though clearly not all animals were evolving at the same rate, since they still have dogs and cats as pets here. Something I tried to do in my Wonder Pets review was determine when exactly it takes place, a task that proved futile as the show refers to things from many different time periods as being current. But this show supports the idea of animals evolving at different rates, since the animals the Wonder Pets encounter on their adventures widely vary in terms of intelligence. Humans also seem to be getting more accepting of these highly intelligent animals, as some animals have started working alongside humans and even become celebrities like the Beatles or Rat Pack. Still not quite equal, as many animals are still kept as pets, the Wonder Pets keeping their operation a secret from the human world. We also see our first instance of inanimate objects brought to life, though so far only objects modeled after other life forms like puppets and clay models. Little Bill is a show that doesn't really neatly fit into this timeline, since it's pretty much entirely grounded in our reality and thus doesn't contribute anything to the theory. The Fresh Beat Band clearly takes place when it was made, given the music and technology featured. Despite its grounded premise, the humans are shown to be capable of true magic and can develop godlike abilities. Twist was able to drag Saturn down from space, Shout can duplicate himself and levitate, and this Weatherman can predict the future.
The Weatherman is always right.
There's superheroes and supervillains, genies, and ghosts, who in this show are explicitly the spirits of dead people. So by putting this in the same universe as Blue's Clues and Teamy Mizumi, that retroactively implies that Boo and Little Ghost actually are dead children. Dark stuff. While the animals who appear in this show don't seem to have above average intelligence, we do see inanimate objects not modeled after sentient beings gaining sentience, likely a result of magic exposure, with the Fresh Beats befriending a plant in Jungle Jazz and a balloon in Balloon Buddy. And we're all content saying the Fresh Beat Band of Spies is non-canon, right? Meanwhile, another man has made himself god of his own realm, and his name is DJ Lance Rock, ruler of Gabaland, a toy realm he brings to life every day with the words, Yo Gabba Gabba. In Yo Fresh Beats Go Gabba Gabba, DJ Lance doesn't demonstrate any of his powers, so they might not work in the real world, but at least in Gabaland, he's omniscient and omnipotent. While DJ Lance is shown to have a mostly amicable, almost father-like relationship with his toys, he still treats them like, well, toys, who are ultimately at the mercy of his will. It's unsurprising then that eventually the toys would rise up and form their own communities independent of humanity, like Tickety Talk, which revolves around a world inside a clock in a clock shop, though its residents still live in fear of the humans on the outside, as every hour Tommy and Tallulah make sure to return to the clock. And not really a toy, but Zack and Quack takes place inside a pop-up book. Then there's Team Mizumi, a show about free tiny superheroes where again the animals vary in intelligence, but just about every kind of vehicle has started gaining sentience. In Neo Kai-Lan, Kai-Lan is friends with all sorts of sapient animals. Foxes and bears run whole kingdoms, but most notably the sun and moon have become sentient. Jump forward to the Dora franchise and just about every possible object is sentient now, and just about every animal sapient. Again, except for dogs and cats. Also, at some point Bubble Guppies happens. It takes place in the ocean, and its cast is entirely composed of sapient sea creatures and mermaids. And we also see mermaids in Dora, so sure, it can go here. Blue's Clues sees the world in a similar place, with most objects being sentient and most animals being sapient, including cats now. It's just dogs who are behind now, since while otherwise she has the intelligence of a human, Blue still can't speak a human language. But luckily for her, someone would help her with that being Muna, the moon fairy.
Are you a moon fairy from the moon?
In The Legend of the Blue Puppy, she reveals that Blue was actually born the only sapient puppy amongst a litter under the blue moon, and is now ready to find the key she was born with. This key opens up to Blue's room where she can now speak full English. Later in Meet Blue's baby brother, we visit Puppyville, seemingly the world where all puppies live before they're born. Eventually, you get the Paw Patrol, a team of sapient search and rescue dogs who are the sole protectors of the town of Adventure Bay, led by Human Boy Ryder. If you've watched Film Theory, you know that not all is right between them. Eventually, the pups found out about Ryder's shady practices, and a war broke out between humans, animals, and objects. And the animals won, as seen in Peppa Pig, where the world is almost entirely populated by anthropomorphic animals, minus the select few who haven't evolved yet, Santa Claus, but he's Santa Claus, and the Queen of England. In Backyardigans, the characters seem aware of humans. Uniqua even refers to them as being part of the human race in Mission to Mars. But we never see any humans in person. Also, let's back up. What is Uniqua? She doesn't look like any animal I've ever seen. Well, with the animals ruling the world, it led to interspecies relationships, allowing for hybrid animals to be born, leading to Wow Wow Wubsy, where the world is entirely populated by abstract Seussian creatures, humanity being long gone. But hey, that's just a theory, a Nick Jr. theory. Now, excuse me while I end this saga the only way I can. Well, you could run or hide, or you could stay a while. Oh, Nick Jr. Wonder Pets Meow Kai-Lan, or the Backyardigans. On Nick Jr. Running through fields, or looking for clues. On a Blue's Clues day. The mighty math powers of Team Mizumi make it the smart place to play. Dora's here with all her friends, the fun it never ends, on Nick Jr. Fresh Meat Band and DJ Lance, they love to sing and dance, on Nick Jr. On Nick Jr. On Nick Jr. So, we've reached the end of the Nick Jr. saga, and I bet a lot of you are probably wondering, where do we go from here? Well, my video ranking every Disney XD original series is currently being edited, so be on the lookout for that. It was originally supposed to be the 2,000 subscriber special, but now it's looking like it's going to be closer to 3,000. Besides that, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I definitely want to take a break from preschool show retrospectives for a while, and I don't know if I'll ever do another mini series like this. Someone recently commented that I should do another video reviewing random Sprout shows, but that's a video that I'm really not proud of. I remember I finished the script, thought it was no good, but thought maybe I could redeem it in the recording or editing process, but no, I still think it's pretty bad. So if I ever were to tackle Sprout again, it would probably be in a different format. Let me know what you guys would want me to do with that. I also still want to do that Ben the Looney video. Are any of you guys still interested in that? And what about Super Mario Logan? If I were to complete it, I would probably scrap all the work I've done so far and make it one massive video. Sounds insane, I know, but besides that, what do you guys want me to talk about? Any movies, TV shows, any weird old thing from the past? What do you guys want to say? I am the Cartoon Koala, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.